Welcome to Dreamy Facts. As the day gently recedes, we invite you to settle into a space of calm contemplation. Tonight, we embark on a journey through ancient Egypt, exploring approximately 100 fascinating facts that reveal intricate patterns, subtle wisdom, and profound beauty within this enduring civilization. There is no pressure to remember or retain these details. Instead, let them unfold naturally, inviting your mind to settle into a state of peaceful curiosity. This exploration is designed to be a soothing experience, a gentle current of knowledge flowing without demanding effort or retention. We will observe the intricate dance of its rise and fall, the subtle adaptations to the Nile's rhythms, and the quiet wisdom embedded in its monumental achievements. Each fact is a small window into the vast and interconnected tapestry of ancient Egypt, presented in a calm and meditative tone, allowing your thoughts to drift and find stillness. Allow the gentle rhythm of these discoveries to guide you towards a state of relaxation, inviting a sense of wonder and peace as you prepare for rest. We will delve into the lives of pharaohs and commoners, explore the mysteries of their beliefs, and marvel at the ingenuity that shaped a society lasting millennia. From the earliest dynasties to its eventual decline, each era offers insights into human resilience, creativity, and the enduring quest for meaning, all within the context of a civilization that flourished for over 3,000 years. Let the sands of time drift away as we journey back to a land of pyramids, papyrus, and powerful deities, all held together by the life-giving embrace of the Nile River. This evening we simply observe, allowing the echoes of a distant past to wash over us, enriching our present moment with the sense of the timeless. If you're finding peace in this journey through ancient wonders, a gentle like and subscribe helps us continue creating these restful explorations. And we're always curious. Share in the comments what city and time zone you're watching from. There's something special about knowing this experience is reaching people all over the world as they prepare for rest, connecting us across time and space through shared curiosity. Our journey into ancient Egypt begins with its very lifeblood, the Nile River. This remarkable waterway shaped every aspect of the civilization, from its agriculture and economy to its religious beliefs and political structure. We observe how this singular geographical feature allowed a complex society to flourish in an otherwise arid land, providing a foundation for a culture that would endure for millennia. The annual flooding of the Nile River was, without doubt, the most crucial natural phenomenon for ancient Egypt. Historians generally agree that this predictable inundation, occurring from June to September, deposited fertile black silt across the floodplain, making agriculture possible in a desert environment. This rich soil, known as Kemet, or the Black Land, contrasted sharply with the Deshret or Red Land of the barren desert. Ancient Egyptians developed sophisticated systems to manage the floodwaters, including basins, canals, and levees, to maximize crop yields. The regularity of the flood also deeply influenced their worldview, fostering a sense of cosmic order and renewal. Without this consistent natural fertilization and irrigation, a large-scale civilization like ancient Egypt could not have sustained its population or developed its monumental architecture. The Nile's bounty was seen as a divine gift, ensuring the prosperity and continuity of their society for millennia. Building upon the fertile lands left by the Nile, Ancient Egyptian agriculture was highly productive and formed the bedrock of their economy. The primary staple crops were emmer wheat and barley, which were used to bake bread and brew beer, essential components of the daily diet for all social classes. These grains were cultivated extensively, often with simple ploughs pulled by oxen and harvested using sickles. Beyond grains, they also grew a variety of vegetables such as onions, garlic, leeks, lentils, and beans, along with fruits like dates, figs, and grapes. Flax was another vital crop, processed to produce linen for clothing, sails, and even mummy wrappings. The abundance of food allowed for specialization of labor, supporting artisans, scribes, priests, and builders, who in turn contributed to the complex social structure and impressive achievements of the civilization. This agricultural surplus was critical for sustaining a large population and undertaking vast construction projects. The Nile served as the primary artery for transportation and trade throughout ancient Egypt, effectively uniting the long, narrow kingdom. Historical records document that boats, ranging from small papyrus rafts to large wooden cargo vessels, constantly plied its waters, moving people, goods, and building materials. The prevailing north wind allowed boats to sail upstream, south, while the river's current carried them effortlessly downstream, north. This natural advantage made internal communication and commerce remarkably efficient, facilitating the movement of grain from fertile regions to cities and quarries, and stone for temples and pyramids. Major cities and settlements were typically established along the riverbanks, underscoring its central role in urban development. The Nile's navigational ease also allowed for the efficient administration of the unified kingdom, linking Upper and Lower Egypt and fostering a shared cultural identity across vast distances. The profound impact of the Nile extended deeply into ancient Egyptian religion and mythology, shaping their understanding of creation, life, and death. The river itself was often personified as the god Hapi, revered as the bringer of fertility and abundance, responsible for the annual flood. The cycle of the Nile's flood and recession mirrored the Egyptians' belief in cyclical renewal and rebirth, influencing their concepts of the afterlife. Osiris, the god of the afterlife, the underworld, and the dead, was also closely associated with the fertility of the Nile and the resurrection of life, much like the crops that emerged from the floodwaters. The primeval waters of Nun, from which the world was believed to have emerged, reflect the foundational importance of water in their creation myths. This deep spiritual connection meant that the river was not just a resource but a sacred entity, integral to their cosmic order and their hopes for eternal life. As the gentle current of knowledge carried us through the profound significance of the Nile, we observed how its life-giving embrace shaped not just the physical landscape, but the very genesis of a civilization. We understood that the river was more than a waterway. It was the rhythmic pulse of existence, dictating the patterns of life and death, shaping beliefs, and forging an economy. Now we invite you to drift further along this ancient river, to witness how these fundamental truths blossomed into the structured society and enduring legacy of ancient Egypt. We find ourselves contemplating the stark yet harmonious duality that defined the Egyptian world, the Kemet and the Dishret. The Kemet, meaning the Black Land, was the narrow, fertile strip of land flanking the Nile, nourished by the annual deposition of rich, dark silt. This was the land of life, of agriculture, of vibrant growth. In stark contrast lay the Dishret, the Red Land, the vast arid desert stretching out on either side, a realm of harsh beauty and daunting emptiness. This contrast was not merely geographical, it was philosophical, a constant reminder of the delicate balance between order and chaos, life and barrenness. It was within the nurturing confines of the Kemet that early human settlements began to flourish, drawn by the irresistible promise of sustenance. Imagine small, independent communities, initially scattered along the Nile's banks, each a fragile island of life amidst the boundless sands. These early inhabitants, perhaps driven by necessity and the shared challenge of harnessing the river's power, slowly began to develop rudimentary systems of cooperation. We observe the subtle yet profound shift from isolated existence to communal living as the rhythm of the Nile demanded collective effort, to dig channels, to build embankments, to plant and harvest in unison. This shared endeavour, born from the river's predictable cycles, began to weave the first threads of social cohesion. Over millennia, these scattered settlements coalesced, growing in size and complexity, eventually forming distinct cultural and political entities. We trace the slow, organic rise of two dominant kingdoms, Upper Egypt, stretching southwards along the Nile's narrow valley, and Lower Egypt, encompassing the broad, fertile delta region in the north. The river, which had initially facilitated the emergence of these separate entities, paradoxically also served as the primary artery for their eventual unification. It was the great highway, linking distant communities, allowing for the exchange of goods, ideas, and even cultural practices. The unification of these, Oscar and quote 434, around 3100 BCE, often attributed to the legendary King Menes, or Nama, was a pivotal moment, marking the true dawn of dynastic Egypt. This profound act of consolidation, an enduring testament to human ingenuity and organizational prowess, would have been almost unimaginable without the Nile as its central unifying axis. With the advent of unification, a new figure emerged, one whose authority and divinity were inextricably linked to the very lifeblood of the Nile, the pharaoh. The pharaoh was not merely a ruler, they were believed to be a living god, the divine intermediary between the cosmic order and the human realm. Their primary duty, above all else, was to maintain Ma'at, the concept of cosmic balance, truth, justice, and order. This profound responsibility directly encompassed the well-being of the Nile. The pharaoh was seen as the one who ensured the annual inundation, who guaranteed the fertility of the land, and who, through their righteous rule, kept chaos at bay. The prosperity of the kingdom, the very survival of its people, was believed to hinge upon the pharaoh's sacred connection to the gods and their ability to uphold Ma'at. When the Nile's flood was too low or too high, it was a crisis that reflected not only agricultural hardship, but also a perceived disruption in the divine order, often attributed to the pharaoh's stewardship. This divine mandate vested in the pharaoh led to the development of a highly centralized and sophisticated administrative system. To manage the vast resources generated by the Nile's bounty, and to coordinate the monumental construction projects that would define Egyptian civilization, an intricate bureaucracy was essential. We observe the early forms of record keeping, the careful measurement of land after the floods, the systematic collection of taxes in the form of grain, and the organization of labor for public works. These were not merely practical necessities, They were acts of upholding Ma'at, ensuring that every aspect of society functioned in harmony, mirroring the predictable and orderly cycles of the Nile itself. The genius of ancient Egypt lay in its ability to marry spiritual beliefs with pragmatic governance, creating a stable and enduring state that lasted for millennia. The Nile, in its unwavering rhythm, instilled in the Egyptian psyche a profound sense of cyclical renewal, a belief in the enduring nature of life, death, and rebirth. This was reflected not only in their agricultural practices, but deeply embedded in their religious worldview. The annual retreat of the floodwaters, leaving behind fertile soil, was a powerful metaphor for resurrection. Osiris, the god of the underworld and rebirth, whose myth recounts his death and subsequent regeneration, became intrinsically linked to the fertility of the Nile and the promise of eternal life. Just as the Nile brought forth life from the barren land each year, so too did the Egyptians believe in a spiritual journey beyond death, a journey towards a renewed existence in the field of reeds. This calm acceptance of life's cycles mirrored in the river's flow fostered a society that valued continuity, tradition, and the pursuit of a harmonious afterlife. This deep philosophical grounding, born from the observation of the natural world, gave rise to remarkable feats of early engineering and architectural ambition. While we will delve into the monumental structures in greater detail later, it is important to acknowledge that the organizational capacity and the ingenuity required for such undertakings were fundamentally rooted in the lessons learned from managing the Nile. The construction of early irrigation systems, the careful surveying of land, and the efficient transportation of colossal stone blocks via the river were all testaments to a society that had mastered its environment. These were not just practical solutions. They were expressions of a profound belief in order, a desire to create enduring monuments that would defy the sands of time, much like the Nile itself seemed to flow eternally. We invite you to gently close your eyes for a moment and simply listen to the imagined whisper of the river. Feel the warmth of the sun on the fertile earth. Hear the rustle of papyrus reeds and sense the quiet industry of a people deeply connected to their land and its life-giving waters. This profound connection to the Nile fostered a unique blend of practicality and spirituality, shaping a civilization that was both grounded in the earth and reaching for the heavens. It instilled a sense of peace, a quiet confidence in the cycles of life, and a reverence for the enduring power of creation. As we gently drift further, we begin to appreciate how this foundational understanding of the Nile informed every aspect of Egyptian life, from the smallest daily tasks to the grandest expressions of their faith and power. The lessons learned from the river's ebb and flow, the necessity of cooperation, the value of order, the promise of renewal, were meticulously woven into the fabric of their society, creating a culture that endured for over 3 millennia. Our exploration is designed to unfold these intricate patterns, revealing the subtle wisdom and profound beauty that permeated their world. We will next begin to explore the very earliest dynasties, observing how these initial structures solidified, giving rise to the pharaohs and the early monumental achievements that continue to inspire awe. For now, let us simply rest in the calm contemplation of the Nile's enduring legacy, its gentle current carrying us towards deeper insights. As the gentle current of knowledge carried us through the formative years of ancient Egypt, we observed the profound unification facilitated by the enduring Nile and the subsequent emergence of the pharaoh as the living embodiment of divine authority, tasked with upholding Ma'at, the cosmic order. This pivotal moment, around 3100 BCE, laid the bedrock for an era of unprecedented stability and ambition, a period we now gently approach, inviting you to further settle into a state of calm contemplation. We journey now into the heart of the Old Kingdom, a time that saw the blossoming of monumental architecture, a testament to a civilization deeply rooted in its beliefs and the boundless potential of its people. The early dynastic period directly following the unification was a time of consolidation where the pharaoh's power grew, not merely as a political leader, but as a sacred intermediary between the earthly realm and the divine pantheon. This was a king whose very existence was believed to ensure the annual inundation of the Nile, the prosperity of the land and the well-being of its inhabitants. His divinity was not just a symbol, it was a fundamental truth that permeated every aspect of Egyptian life, establishing a centralized state that commanded immense resources and labor. It was this profound belief in the pharaoh's divine nature and his eternal journey that spurred the earliest, most awe-inspiring architectural endeavors. We observe that the Egyptians, with their sophisticated understanding of the cyclical nature of life and death, inspired by the Nile's own rhythm of renewal, held an unwavering conviction in the afterlife. For the pharaoh, this belief manifested in the necessity of an eternal dwelling, a secure and magnificent resting place that would facilitate his transition to the realm of the gods and ensure his continued ability to intercede on behalf of Egypt. Early tombs, known as mastabas, were rectangular, flat-topped structures made of mud brick. But as the pharaoh's perceived divinity grew, so too did the ambition for their eternal homes. It is in this context that we encounter the visionary figure of Imhotep, chancellor to Pharaoh Djoser of the Third Dynasty, around 2667, 2648 BCE. Imhotep was not merely an administrator, he was a polymath, revered as a physician, priest, and, crucially, an architect whose genius would forever alter the landscape of Egypt. We invite you to picture the dusty plains of Saqqara, where, under Imhotep's guidance, a revolution in building began. He conceived of a structure unlike any before it, a colossal tomb complex for Pharaoh Djoser, constructed entirely of stone, marking a radical departure from the traditional mud brick. This magnificent creation, the step pyramid, was not merely a single structure, but an entire mortuary complex enclosed by a massive stone wall. The pyramid itself rose in a series of 6 mastaba-like layers, gradually decreasing in size, reaching a height of approximately 205 feet, 62 meters. It was, in essence, a stacked series of smaller mastabas, each receding from the one below, creating the iconic steps that ascended towards the heavens. This was the world's first large-scale stone building, an architectural marvel that demonstrated an unprecedented mastery of materials and engineering. We can almost feel the weight of those first quarried stones, precisely cut and expertly laid, forming a permanent monument to a divine king. The step pyramid was more than a tomb. It was a symbolic stairway for the pharaoh's soul, enabling his ascent to the stars to join the eternal gods. Its enduring presence at Saqqara reminds us of the profound leap of faith and ingenuity that marked the dawn of monumental architecture. The success of Djoser's step pyramid ignited an architectural ambition that would define the Old Kingdom, particularly during the 4th dynasty. The pharaohs who followed sought to surpass their predecessors, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible in stone. This era saw the gradual evolution from the stepped form to the true smooth-sided pyramid, a journey of trial and error, of innovation and perseverance. We observe the remarkable efforts of Pharaoh Sneferu, the founder of the 4th dynasty, who reigned from around 2613 to 2589 BCE. Sneferu, a pharaoh often remembered for his benevolence and his epithet, quote 6, was also an indefatigable builder, credited with constructing at least 3 and possibly 4 major pyramids. His first attempt, the pyramid at Meidum, began as a step pyramid, but was later converted into a true pyramid. This ambitious conversion, however, proved structurally unsound, and parts of its outer casing collapsed, leaving its core exposed. Undeterred, Sneferu commissioned a second pyramid at Dashur, now known as the Bent Pyramid. Its unique, kinked profile, with a steeper lower angle giving way to a shallower upper angle, tells a story of an engineering mid-course correction. We surmise that structural instabilities during construction compelled the builders to reduce the angle of inclination to prevent another collapse. Despite its unusual shape, the Bent Pyramid represents a critical step in the development of true pyramid construction, a monumental learning experience etched in stone. Finally, Sneferu's third and most successful endeavour, the Red Pyramid, also at Dashur, stands as a testament to perfected technique. With its gentle slope and smooth reddish limestone casing, it achieved the true pyramid form, becoming the first successful true pyramid ever built. This magnificent structure, a true mountain of stone, served as Sneferu's final resting place, a peaceful and enduring monument to a pharaoh whose relentless pursuit of architectural perfection laid the foundation for the most iconic structures in human history. It is upon this meticulously laid foundation of architectural innovation that we encounter the zenith of Old Kingdom achievement, the Great Pyramids of Giza. We invite you to close your eyes and imagine, even for a moment, the sheer scale and majesty of these structures rising from the desert plateau, an enduring symbol of ancient power and spiritual conviction. Built for Sneferu's son, Khufu, and his successors Khafra and Menkaure, these pyramids represent the pinnacle of Egyptian engineering, organization, and artistic expression. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, completed around 2560 BCE, is the largest of the 3, and indeed the largest pyramid ever built. Standing at an original height of approximately 481 feet, 146.6 meters, it remained the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 800 years. We observe its construction as a feat of staggering complexity, involving the precise quarrying, transportation, and placement of an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons. The sheer precision of its alignment with the cardinal points and the incredible accuracy of its construction continue to baffle and inspire modern engineers. It was more than a tomb. It was a monumental declaration of the pharaoh's eternal power, a gateway to eternity designed to ensure his successful journey to the afterlife. Adjacent to Khufu's pyramid stands the Pyramid of Khafre, Khufu's son, which appears taller due to its higher elevation on the Giza plateau and its steeper angle, though it is slightly smaller. What truly distinguishes Khafre's complex is the majestic Great Sphinx, a colossal limestone statue with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh, believed to represent Khafre himself, eternally guarding his mortuary complex. The Sphinx, with its enigmatic gaze, embodies the timeless mystery and enduring power of ancient Egypt, a silent sentinel watching over the sands of time. The third and smallest of the Giza pyramids belongs to Menkaure, Khafra's son. Though more modest in scale, it is renowned for its original casing of polished red granite, a testament to the continued dedication to exquisite craftsmanship and the use of diverse, beautiful materials. These three pyramids, arranged in a deliberate alignment that may reflect celestial patterns, were not isolated structures but the focal points of vast mortuary complexes, including temples, causeways, and satellite pyramids for queens and high officials. The construction of these colossal structures speaks volumes about the highly organized nature of Old Kingdom society. We observe that the annual inundation of the Nile, while providing fertile agricultural land, also freed up a significant portion of the farming population during the flood season. This seasonal labor force, alongside skilled craftsmen, engineers, and administrators, was mobilized in a grand, unified effort. Far from being built by slaves, as popular myth often suggests, evidence points to a well-fed, well-organized workforce, housed in purpose-built villages, driven by religious devotion and a sense of national identity. The Nile, in its gentle embrace, not only nourished the land but also provided the crucial window of opportunity for these monumental undertakings. These enduring stone mountains were intrinsically linked to the elaborate Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. For the pharaoh, the pyramid was a secure vessel for his body, a place where his Keam, life force, and Biam, personality, could return and find sustenance, allowing him to continue his existence in the field of reeds, the Egyptian paradise. The intricate passages within the pyramids, the burial chambers deep within their cores, and the treasures interred alongside the pharaoh were all designed to aid this journey, protecting him from desecration and ensuring his eternal well-being. The pyramids were, in essence, colossal machines for the afterlife, meticulously crafted to guarantee the continuity of the divine ruler and, by extension, the prosperity of Egypt itself. As we gently drift through the echoes of the Old Kingdom, we realize that these pyramids are more than just tombs. They are enduring symbols of human ambition, ingenuity, and a profound spiritual connection to the cosmos. They represent a civilization that harnessed its natural resources, organized its people, and channeled its deepest beliefs into creations that have transcended millennia. The calm, unwavering presence of these structures reminds us of the timeless nature of belief and the incredible power of a unified vision. We have witnessed the birth of a new architectural paradigm, from Imhotep's revolutionary step pyramid to Sneferu's pioneering efforts, culminating in the unparalleled majesty of the Giza pyramids. These monumental achievements stand as a testament to the Old Kingdom's strength, its centralized power, and its unwavering faith in the divine pharaoh and the eternal journey. They are not merely ancient relics, but vibrant narratives etched in stone, inviting us to ponder the enduring legacy of a civilization that built for eternity. As the sands of time gently drift away, carrying us further along this journey, we will next explore the societal structures, daily lives, and intricate religious practices that flourished under the shadow of these colossal monuments, further enriching our understanding of this wondrous civilization. We invite you to maintain your state of peaceful contemplation as we continue our gentle exploration. As the colossal forms of the Great Pyramids of Giza gently recede into the canvas of our contemplation, leaving an enduring impression of monumental ambition and unwavering faith, we allow our gaze to drift from the stone itself to the vibrant society that breathed life into such grand designs. These eternal dwellings, crafted for kings, were not merely products of royal decree. They were the apex expression of a deeply structured civilization, a testament to the collective efforts, beliefs, and daily rhythms of an entire people. We observe how the very foundations of this society were meticulously laid, creating a tapestry of roles and responsibilities woven together by the life-giving embrace of the Nile and the unwavering belief in cosmic order. Our journey now leads us into the heart of ancient Egyptian society, inviting us to explore the intricate layers that supported an empire spanning millennia. We find a world where every individual, from the humblest farmer to the most powerful vizier, understood their place within a divinely ordained hierarchy, all working in concert to maintain Ma'at, the fundamental principle of truth, balance, order, law, morality, and justice. This profound understanding of order shaped not only their governance, but also their daily interactions, their art, and their spiritual lives. At the very pinnacle of this structured world stood the pharaoh, not just a king, but a living god, an intermediary between the divine realm and humanity. His divine right to rule was unquestioned, his primary duty to uphold Ma'at and ensure the prosperity and continuity of Egypt. We recall how his successful journey to the afterlife was considered paramount for the well-being of the entire nation, linking the fate of the living directly to the eternal destiny of their ruler. This sacred responsibility permeated every aspect of his existence, from the rituals he performed to the monuments he commissioned. Beneath the pharaoh, a complex administrative machinery hummed with efficiency. The vizier, often described as the quote sevens, wielded immense power, overseeing state affairs, justice, and the vast bureaucracy. This was a role of profound trust and responsibility, requiring wisdom, integrity, and an intimate knowledge of the land's workings. We observe how this central authority ensured the smooth functioning of a society that, despite its grandeur, relied heavily on meticulous record-keeping and organized labor. The priests, guardians of the gods' cults, occupied a position of immense spiritual authority. They maintained the elaborate temple complexes, performed daily rituals, and interpreted the will of the deities. Their lives were dedicated to ensuring the continuous flow of divine favor upon Egypt, a crucial task in a world where the gods were seen as active participants in human affairs. We will delve deeper into their sacred duties, recognizing how their meticulous adherence to ritual helped maintain the delicate balance between the mortal and the divine. Scribes, the literate elite, formed the backbone of the administration, their skills indispensable for a civilization that valued written communication, record-keeping, and the transmission of knowledge. We watch as they meticulously record inventories of grain, census data, legal judgments, and even literary works, their reed pens gliding across papyrus. Their mastery of hieroglyphs, a beautiful and complex writing system, elevated them to a respected status, providing them with a pathway to influence and power. It was through their tireless efforts that the stories, laws, and wisdom of ancient Egypt were preserved, allowing us today a unique window into their enduring world. Beyond the administrative and priestly classes, we encounter the artisans and craftsmen whose skill and dedication brought beauty and functionality to both daily life and the eternal realm. From the sculptors who carved the serene faces of pharaohs and gods, to the jewelers who fashioned intricate adornments of gold and lapis lazuli, to the potters, weavers, and carpenters, each played a vital role. Their work, often commissioned by the state or the temples, was not merely labour. It was an act of creation, imbued with purpose and often with spiritual significance, particularly when destined for tombs or sacred spaces. We sense the quiet pride in their craftsmanship, understanding that every stroke of a brush or chisel contributed to the enduring legacy of their civilization. But the vast majority of ancient Egyptians were the common people, the farmers and labourers whose lives were intimately intertwined with the cycles of the Nile. Their existence, though perhaps less glamorous, was the very engine that powered the empire. We observe their resilience and ingenuity as they cultivate the fertile Kemet lands, their lives dictated by the annual inundation. The rhythm of their days was tied to the river's bounty, planting wheat and barley after the floodwaters receded, tending to fields of flax for linen, and harvesting their crops under the watchful eye of the sun god, Ra. Their homes were typically modest, constructed from sun-dried mud bricks, offering shelter from the desert heat. Their diet, though simple, was nourishing, consisting primarily of bread, beer, vegetables, and fish from the Nile. During the 3 months of the annual inundation, when the fields were submerged and agricultural work paused, these farmers were often conscripted into state service, providing the immense workforce required for monumental projects like the pyramids and temples. This system of corvée labour was not slavery in the conventional sense, but a civic duty, a contribution to the pharaoh and the gods, ensuring the well-being of the entire land. We imagine the sheer scale of human effort, the organised precision, and the collective spirit that must have been present as thousands of workers moved colossal stones, guided by skilled overseers and architects, all united by a shared purpose and a deep belief in their divine ruler. It is in understanding the lives of these common people that we truly grasp the profound impact of religious belief on ancient Egyptian society. Their world was permeated by the divine, with gods and goddesses embodying natural forces, abstract concepts, and the very fabric of existence. We have already encountered Hapi, the benevolent personification of the Nile's inundation, and Osiris, the god of the afterlife, renewal and fertility, whose myth mirrored the cyclical death and rebirth of the land. But the pantheon was vast and varied, reflecting the diverse aspects of life and the cosmos. We invite you now to delve deeper into the intricate web of ancient Egyptian religious beliefs, for it is here that we find the heart of their worldview and the driving force behind many of their most enduring achievements. Their understanding of the soul, for instance, was multifaceted and complex, comprising several distinct elements. The K, often translated as the life force or spirit, was born with an individual and remained with the body in the tomb, requiring sustenance in the form of offerings to survive. The bust, depicted as a human-headed bird, represented the personality, individuality, and mobility of the deceased, able to travel between the tomb and the world of the living, connecting the earthly realm with the divine. The Akh, the effective one, was the transfigured spirit of the deceased, achieved through proper burial rites and moral conduct, ascending to join the gods in the stars. This intricate concept of the soul underscored the meticulous care taken in preparing for the afterlife, ensuring that all components were properly provided for. The journey to the afterlife was not merely a belief, it was the ultimate purpose of life itself, a grand voyage through the duat, the underworld, to achieve eternal bliss in the field of reeds, a verdant paradise mirroring the fertile Nile Valley. This journey was fraught with challenges and trials, requiring the deceased to navigate dangerous landscapes, encounter fearsome deities, and pass judgment before Osiris and the 42 divine judges. The heart, believed to be the seat of intelligence and morality, would be weighed against the feather of Maat. If the heart was pure and balanced, the deceased was granted eternal life. If heavy with misdeeds, it would be devoured by Amit, the quote 12. This profound belief in the afterlife and the necessity of a well-preserved body for the soul's journey led to the development of mummification, one of ancient Egypt's most iconic practices. We observe the meticulous 70-day process. The removal of internal organs, preserved separately in canopic jars, the drying of the body with natron salt, and the careful wrapping in layers of linen bandages, often interspersed with amulets and prayers. This elaborate ritual was designed not out of a morbid fascination with death, but from a deep reverence for life and a desire to ensure the deceased's successful transition to an eternal existence. It was an act of profound hope and faith, a testament to their belief in continuity beyond the earthly realm. Funerary rituals extended beyond mummification, encompassing elaborate processions, incantations, and offerings. Priests performed the Aeskian Theatini ceremony, symbolically restoring the senses to the mummy and cult statue, allowing the deceased to breathe, eat, and speak in the afterlife. Tombs, whether grand pyramids or humble pits, were furnished with grave goods. Everything from food and drink to tools, furniture, and jewellery, intended to sustain and comfort the deceased in their eternal dwelling. These practices, though varied depending on social status, shared a common goal: to secure a blessed existence in the afterlife and maintain the connection between the living and the dead. Temples, majestic structures dedicated to the gods, served as the focal points of state religion and community life. We envision their towering pylons, their colonnaded courtyards, and their dimly lit sanctuaries where priests communed with the divine images. These were not places of congregational worship as we might understand it today, but rather sacred houses for the gods, where daily rituals were performed to honour them, present offerings, and ensure the cosmic order. Festivals, however, brought the divine into the public sphere, with statues of gods paraded through the streets, allowing the common people to witness and participate in the sacred celebrations. This pervasive religious worldview, deeply intertwined with the cycles of the Nile and the concept of Maat, shaped every facet of ancient Egyptian existence. It dictated their societal structure, their art, their architecture, and their daily routines. It provided comfort in the face of uncertainty, meaning in the face of hardship, and a profound sense of purpose in the pursuit of an eternal life. The enduring stability of their civilization, spanning thousands of years, can be attributed in no small part to this cohesive and deeply held system of beliefs, which united pharaoh and commoner alike in a shared understanding of their place in the cosmos. As we gently drift through these insights, allowing the sands of time to momentarily part, we begin to appreciate the remarkable coherence of ancient Egyptian society. It was a civilization built on order, faith, and an extraordinary capacity for collective endeavor, all orchestrated under the guiding hand of a divine ruler and sustained by the timeless rhythms of the Nile. The monuments we first observed were not isolated wonders, but the grandest expressions of this intricate social and spiritual tapestry, reflecting a people who lived intensely in the present while preparing meticulously for eternity. Each era, each dynasty, offered new interpretations and refinements to these foundational principles, but the core essence of their civilization remained remarkably constant, like the enduring current of the Nile itself. We will continue our exploration by observing how these foundational aspects evolved and adapted through the subsequent periods, each era offering its own unique insights into the profound resilience and creativity of this ancient culture. As the sands of time drift away, revealing the enduring foundation of ancient Egyptian civilization, we find ourselves drawn deeper into its intricate tapestry, observing how its core principles not only defined its monumental achievements, but also guided its evolution through periods of both profound stability and challenging change. The cohesive, deeply held religious worldview, intertwined with the Nile's rhythms and the concept of Mut, truly provided the bedrock for a society that would ebb and flow, yet always find its way back to equilibrium. We have gently journeyed through the majestic Old Kingdom, a golden age of pyramid building and centralized power, where the pharaoh stood as a living god, the very embodiment of Maat. Yet, even the most monumental structures eventually weather the passage of millennia, and the most stable systems can experience periods of transformation. Following the grandeur of the Old Kingdom, a subtle shift began to ripple through the fabric of Egyptian society. The immense resources required for the pharaoh's eternal monuments, coupled with a gradual decentralization of power, began to strain the centralized administration. Local administrators, known as nomarchs, grew increasingly influential, their power bases strengthening in their respective nomes or provinces. This gradual erosion of central authority culminated in what historians refer to as the First Intermediate Period, c. 2181 to 1055 BCE. It was a time when the calm waters of unified rule became somewhat turbulent, as the pharaohs in Memphis lost much of their effective control over the entire land. We observe this period not as a collapse into chaos, but rather as a complex rearrangement of power, a testament to the resilience of the Egyptian spirit. The narrative voice shifts here, allowing us to describe the historical reality. While the central government weakened, the local nomarchs often maintained order within their territories, becoming powerful regional rulers who sometimes vied for supremacy. This era saw a proliferation of artistic styles and funerary practices as individuals outside the royal court began to commission their own elaborate tombs and funerary goods, reflecting a broader democratization of the afterlife. The belief in a successful journey through the Duat, once seemingly reserved for the pharaoh and his immediate circle, became more accessible, suggesting a shift in spiritual emphasis that resonated with the common person. Though often characterized by political fragmentation, this period was also a crucible of creativity and introspection. Without the monolithic presence of a single, all-encompassing royal court dictating artistic and literary conventions, regional styles blossomed. We find a rich vein of literature emerging from this era, often reflecting on the challenges of life, the nature of leadership, and the enduring quest for matter amidst change. These texts, sometimes somber, sometimes defiant, offer us a unique and deeply human window into the Egyptian psyche during a time of flux. They remind us that even when the political landscape shifts, the fundamental human desire for order, meaning, and connection to the divine remains steadfast. Just as the Nile's annual flood always recedes to reveal fertile new ground, so too did the first intermediate period eventually give way to a renewed era of unity and prosperity. From the southern city of Thebes, a new dynasty of strong pharaohs emerged, determined to re-establish central authority and restore the unified vision of Egypt. This was the dawn of the Middle Kingdom, c. and 1650 BCE, often regarded as a classical age of Egyptian culture and a renaissance of stability and artistic expression. With the reunification of Egypt under Mentuhotep II, we witness a reassertion of pharaonic power, though perhaps with a more nuanced understanding of governance than in the Old Kingdom. The pharaohs of the Middle Kingdom, while still divine, cultivated an image of the Good Shepherd, a ruler deeply concerned with the welfare of his people. This era saw a renewed focus on internal development, with ambitious irrigation projects designed to maximize agricultural output, ensuring the prosperity of all. We observe a shift in the capital to Ijdawi, near the Fayum oasis, strategically chosen for its central location and access to fertile lands. The Middle Kingdom is particularly celebrated for its literary masterpieces. Texts such as the story of Sinew, the eloquent peasant, and the instructions of Amenemhat offer profound insights into Egyptian values, morality, and the complexities of human experience. These works, often written in a more sophisticated and introspective style, demonstrate a flourishing of intellectual life and a deeper exploration of individual agency within the larger cosmic order. They speak to universal themes of exile, justice, and the search for one's place in the world, resonating across millennia. In terms of architecture, while the monumental scale of the Old Kingdom pyramids was not replicated, the Middle Kingdom saw the development of more elaborate rock-cut tombs, particularly in places like Beni Hassan. These tombs, carved directly into cliffsides, were adorned with vibrant paintings depicting scenes of daily life, agricultural activities, and the journey to the afterlife, providing invaluable records of the era. The pharaohs of this period also engaged in significant expansion into Nubia to the south, securing vital trade routes and resources, particularly gold, which further enriched the kingdom. Fortresses were built along the Nile to protect these interests, demonstrating a strategic foresight that ensured long-term stability. As we gently drift through these periods of consolidation and renewal, we are reminded that the grand narratives of pharaohs and monuments are but one facet of the Egyptian experience. The enduring stability of this civilization, its capacity to adapt and flourish for millennia, rested on the shoulders of its people and the intricate tapestry of their daily lives. We invite you now to step away from the grand pronouncements of kings and the cycles of dynasties, and instead to contemplate the rhythms of everyday existence that truly sustained this ancient world. The lives of most ancient Egyptians, whether in the Old, Middle, or New Kingdoms, revolved around the life-giving embrace of the Nile. Their homes, typically constructed of sun-dried mud bricks, were simple yet functional, designed to offer respite from the desert heat. We observe that larger houses might have had multiple rooms, an open courtyard, and even a roof terrace, while the vast majority lived in more modest dwellings. Furniture was sparse but practical, consisting of woven mats, low stools, and perhaps a wooden chest for storage. Life was lived largely outdoors, centered around family and community. The typical ancient Egyptian home was made of sun-dried mud brick, a readily available and effective building material that kept interiors cool. Family was the cornerstone of Egyptian society. We find that women held a remarkably high status compared to many other ancient civilizations. They could own property, inherit land, initiate divorce, and pursue various professions, from priestess to merchant. While the primary role for most women was managing the household and raising children, their legal rights and societal respect were significant. Men, on the other hand, were typically responsible for providing for the family through farming, craftsmanship, or administrative duties. Children were cherished, and education, particularly for boys, often involved learning a trade or, for the privileged few, becoming scribes. Ancient Egyptian women enjoyed significant legal rights, including the ability to own property, inherit wealth, and initiate legal proceedings. The Egyptian diet was largely vegetarian, based on the abundant yields of the Nile. Bread, made from emmer wheat, and beer, brewed from barley, were staples. Vegetables like onions, garlic, lettuce, lentils, and chickpeas were commonly cultivated, alongside fruits such as dates, figs, and grapes. Meat, primarily fish and poultry, was consumed more sparingly, often reserved for festivals or the wealthy. Their culinary practices, simple yet effective, ensured a nutritious diet that fueled a highly productive society. The staple foods of ancient Egypt were bread, made from emmer wheat, and beer, brewed from barley, consumed daily by all social classes. Clothing was simple and practical, reflecting the warm climate. Men typically wore a kilt-like garment called a shendet, while women donned a close-fitting sheath dress. Both sexes often wore sandals and adorned themselves with jewellery, from simple beads to elaborate gold and lapis lazuli pieces, which also served as talismans. Hygiene was important. Egyptians bathed regularly, used perfumes and oils to protect their skin from the sun, and even developed early forms of toothpaste. Ancient Egyptians used a form of toothpaste made from ingredients like rock salt, mint, and dried iris flowers to maintain oral hygiene. Beyond the necessities of life, Egyptians also embraced leisure and entertainment. Board games, such as senet and mehen, were popular pastimes. Music, dance, and storytelling were integral to social gatherings and religious festivals. Children played with wooden toys, dolls, and balls. This rich social life, interwoven with religious observances and the rhythms of the Nile, created a vibrant culture that valued both hard work and moments of shared joy. Senet, a board game dating back to at least 3100 BCE, was one of the most popular forms of entertainment in ancient Egypt, often played by all social classes. The very essence of this enduring civilization, its ability to maintain mat through millennia, was not only expressed in its governance and daily life, but also profoundly embedded in its art and craftsmanship. We turn our contemplative gaze now to the intricate patterns, subtle wisdom, and profound beauty that permeated every creation, from monumental temples to the smallest amulet. Egyptian art was not merely decorative, it was functional, imbued with deep symbolic meaning, and designed to serve the divine and ensure eternal order. The most iconic form of Egyptian writing, hieroglyphs, serves as a perfect example of this. These, quote 18, were not just a means of communication. They were works of art in themselves, each pictographic sign carefully rendered and imbued with specific meaning. They adorned temple walls, tomb chambers, and papyrus scrolls, preserving history, religious texts, and administrative records. The scribes, highly respected members of society, painstakingly mastered this complex system, ensuring the continuity of knowledge and the proper functioning of the bureaucracy. Hieroglyphs, meaning Gai, quote 19, were not only a writing system but also an art form, with each symbol meticulously rendered and imbued with symbolic meaning. Tomb paintings and reliefs, often vibrant and remarkably preserved, offer us unparalleled insights into the Egyptian worldview. They depict scenes of daily life, agricultural abundance, offerings to the gods, and the deceased's journey through the afterlife. These images were not meant to be merely aesthetic, they were believed to magically come to life, providing sustenance and ensuring a successful transition into the field of reeds. The artistic conventions such as the composite view, head and legs in profile, torso facing forward, were not due to a lack of skill, but rather a deliberate choice to present the most complete and recognizable form of an entity for eternity. Ancient Egyptian tomb paintings and reliefs were believed to magically provide for the deceased in the afterlife, ensuring their sustenance and eternal well-being. Sculpture, from colossal statues of pharaohs to small, exquisite figurines, showcased the Egyptians' mastery of various materials, including granite, basalt, wood, and even gold. These sculptures often conveyed a sense of timelessness and serene dignity, reflecting the enduring nature of their beliefs. The Great Sphinx at Giza, with its lion's body and human head, remains a powerful symbol of royal power and divine protection, guarding the necropolis with an eternal gaze. Ancient Egyptian sculptors often depicted figures with a serene, idealized expression, emphasizing timelessness and the divine nature of their subjects rather than individualistic realism. The craftsmanship extended to everyday objects and elaborate funerary goods. Pottery, though often utilitarian, could also be finely decorated. Jewelry made from precious metals and gemstones like lapis lazuli, turquoise, and carnelian was not only a mark of status but also believed to possess protective powers. Even the tools used by artisans, from stonemasons to carpenters, demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of engineering and design. The precision with which monumental structures were built, the intricate details of a golden mask, or the delicate lines of a painted papyrus, all speak to a society that valued skill, dedication, and the profound connection between material creation and spiritual purpose. As we conclude this contemplation of daily life and artistic expression, we recognize that the enduring stability of ancient Egypt was a testament to its holistic approach to existence. Every aspect, from the flow of the Nile to the structure of society, from the simplest daily meal to the most elaborate temple ritual, was intricately woven into a grand design, all striving to maintain this profound sense of order, purpose, and interconnectedness, allowed their civilization to flourish for an astonishing span, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder in our modern age. We carry these insights with us, ready to delve into further dimensions of this remarkable ancient world. As the gentle current of knowledge carried us through the internal developments and the literary flourishing of the Middle Kingdom, we observe a subtle shifting of the sands, a gradual erosion of the unified strength that had once again bound the two lands. The tranquility, the focused internal development, and the sense of secure prosperity began to fray, much like the delicate threads of an ancient linen garment. This era of renewed stability, which saw pharaohs lauded as good shepherds, eventually gave way to a period of decentralization and external pressures, ushering in what historians term the Second Intermediate Period. It was a time when the enduring spirit of Egypt was tested once more, a phase of fragmentation that would paradoxically pave the way for an unprecedented era of power and glory. We invite you to drift with us now through these turbulent waters to understand how a period of disunity could ultimately forge a stronger, more ambitious Egypt. The Middle Kingdom, despite its achievements, eventually succumbed to internal administrative weaknesses and the growing power of regional nomarchs, echoes of the First Intermediate Period. However, a new and significant external force emerged to challenge the very heart of Egyptian sovereignty: the Hyksos. These foreign rulers, originating from the Near East, gradually infiltrated the Delta region, eventually establishing their own dynasty and ruling over a significant portion of Lower Egypt from their capital at Avaris. For a time, the Nile Valley was divided, with native Egyptian pharaohs maintaining control in the south, from Thebes, while the Hyksos brought with them new technologies, notably the horse and chariot and composite bow, which would fundamentally transform Egyptian military strategy. This period, though often viewed as a time of foreign domination and national humiliation, was also a crucible in which the identity of Egypt was reforged. The presence of the Hyksos sparked a powerful nationalist sentiment among the Egyptian rulers in Thebes. It ignited a fierce determination to expel the foreign occupiers and restore the ancient glory and unity of the two lands. We observe how this challenge, this perceived affront to Maat and the divine order, spurred a resurgence of Egyptian might and purpose. The struggle for liberation, initiated by pharaohs like Seqenenre-Tao and Kamose, culminated in the decisive campaigns of Ahmose who successfully expelled the Hyksos, reunified Egypt, and thereby inaugurated the magnificent era we now lovingly know as the New Kingdom, approximately around 1550 BCE. With Ahmose we embark upon a period of unparalleled imperial expansion, wealth, and monumental achievement, often considered the zenith of ancient Egyptian power and influence. The lessons learned from the Hyksos occupation, the vulnerability of a disunited land, the importance of military superiority were not forgotten. The New Kingdom pharaohs adopted an outward-looking, proactive foreign policy, transforming Egypt from a largely insular nation into a dominant empire. We witnessed the shift from defensive security to aggressive expansion, driven by a desire to create buffer zones and secure valuable resources, thereby ensuring that no foreign power could ever again threaten the heartland of the Nile. The geographical reach of Egypt during this era was truly vast, extending deep into Nubia in the south, securing its rich gold mines and valuable trade routes, and eastward into the Levant, establishing control over numerous city-states in Syria and Palestine. Pharaohs like Thutmose I and, most notably, Thutmose III led numerous military campaigns, carving out an empire that stretched from the fourth cataract of the Nile to the Euphrates River. Thutmose III, often hailed as the quote 21 for his strategic brilliance and numerous victories, never lost a battle. His campaigns brought immense tribute and foreign goods flowing into Egypt, enriching the treasury and fueling an explosion of artistic and architectural patronage. We can almost hear the rhythmic tramp of soldiers and the clatter of chariots echoing through the desert air as the empire was forged and maintained. Within this grand imperial tapestry, we find a succession of remarkable pharaohs, each leaving an indelible mark on the enduring legacy of Egypt. One of the most fascinating figures to emerge from this period is Hatshepsut, a powerful female pharaoh who reigned not merely as a regent, but as a full king, adopting all the regalia and titles traditionally associated with male rulers. Her reign was characterized by peace, prosperity, and an extraordinary building program, most notably her stunning mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari, a masterpiece of ancient architecture that still commands awe today. We observe her dedication to trade and exploration, sending expeditions to the fabled land of Punt, bringing back exotic goods such as myrrh, frankincense, gold, and exotic animals. Her reign represents a unique moment in Egyptian history, a demonstration of female power and vision that defied traditional gender roles, yet always with an underlying reverence for the established divine order. Following Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, after years of co-regency, fully asserted his military genius. His strategic victories and administrative acumen consolidated the Egyptian empire, creating a period of unparalleled stability and wealth. The Karnak temple complex, particularly the festival hall of Thutmose III, stands as a testament to his piety and the grandeur of his achievements. His annals, carved into the temple walls, meticulously record his campaigns, offering us a detailed glimpse into the military might and strategic thinking of the era. We invite you to contemplate the sheer scale of the logistical challenges involved in moving armies and supplies across vast deserts and foreign lands, all while maintaining the vital connection to the life-giving Nile at the heart of the empire. Yet, even amid such imperial splendour and traditional piety, the new kingdom was not without its radical shifts. We encounter the enigmatic figure of Akhenaten, a pharaoh who dared to challenge millennia of religious tradition. He instigated a monotheistic-like worship of the Aten, the sun disk, elevating it above all other gods, including the powerful state god Amun. This, quote 22, named after his new capital city Akhetaten, modern Amarna, was a profound disruption, both religiously and artistically. Traditional temple complexes were closed, Amun's name was systematically removed from monuments, and a new, highly stylized art form emerged, characterized by elongated figures and a greater sense of naturalism and intimacy. While Akhenaten's reforms were ultimately short-lived, reversed by his successors, they offer a fascinating window into the potential for individual agency and ideological upheaval, even within such an ancient and tradition-bound society. We observe this period as a fleeting yet intensely significant deviation from the established path, a testament to the dynamic nature of belief even in the face of enduring custom. Following Akhenaten's reign, his son, the boy king Tutankhamun, ascended the throne. Though his reign was brief and largely overseen by powerful advisors, his significance to us in the modern era is immeasurable due to the incredible discovery of his nearly intact tomb in the Valley of the Kings. His tomb, a treasure trove of ancient artifacts, has provided an unparalleled glimpse into the funerary practices, artistic splendor, and royal wealth of the New Kingdom. More importantly, it signals the full restoration of the traditional polytheistic religion, particularly the worship of Amun, which had been suppressed during his father's reign. This return to the old ways, to the comfort of familiar deities and rituals, brought a renewed sense of cosmic order and stability back to Egypt after the disruptive Amarna experiment. The New Kingdom reached its final crescendo under the extraordinary reign of Ramses II, often referred to as Ramses the Great. His reign, lasting an astonishing 66 years, was marked by an unparalleled building program, military prowess, and diplomatic acumen. He constructed more monuments than almost any other pharaoh, leaving an architectural legacy that includes the magnificent rock-cut temples at Abu Simbel, his vast mortuary temple the Ramesseum, and significant additions to the Karnak and Luxor temples. We witness his military campaigns, including the famous Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites, which, despite its contested outcome, led to the world's first recorded peace treaty, a testament to his diplomatic skill. Ramses the Great's reign embodies the enduring power and majesty of the New Kingdom, a period where the pharaoh was not just a divine ruler, but also a powerful military commander, a prolific builder, and a shrewd diplomat, all working to uphold Ma'at and secure Egypt's place in the ancient world. The religious landscape of the New Kingdom was deeply shaped by the rise of Amun as the preeminent state god. Thebes, his cult center, became the religious capital of Egypt, and the priesthood of Amun amassed immense wealth and political influence. The grand temple complexes of Karnak and Luxor, continuously expanded and adorned by successive pharaohs, stand as unparalleled testaments to the power of Amun and the piety of the rulers. These temples were not merely places of worship, they were economic powerhouses, centers of learning, and vital components of the state apparatus. We invite you to imagine the bustling activity within their vast courtyards, the solemn rituals performed in their inner sanctuaries, and the sheer devotion poured into their construction and decoration. Art and architecture during the New Kingdom reflected this imperial grandeur and religious devotion. The scale of building projects was immense, intended to impress both gods and mortals. Tomb decoration became even more elaborate, moving from the pyramids of the Old Kingdom to the hidden rock-cut tombs of the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens. These subterranean labyrinths were intricately painted with scenes from the Book of the Dead, depicting the deceased's journey through the Duat and their ultimate salvation in the Field of Reeds. The artistry reached new heights, combining vibrant colours, intricate details, and a profound sense of narrative, all designed to ensure the eternal well-being of the pharaohs and queens. We observe how the focus shifted from external monumental markers to internal, hidden sanctuaries, reflecting a changing understanding of the journey to the afterlife. Beyond the grand pronouncements of pharaohs and the construction of temples, the daily lives of the common people during the New Kingdom continue to revolve around the life-giving embrace of the Nile. While the imperial wealth undoubtedly flowed to the elite, the overall prosperity likely improved conditions for many. Cities grew, trade flourished, and the influx of foreign goods and ideas diversified Egyptian culture. Homes were still constructed of mud brick. Families remained central, and the rhythm of life was dictated by the river's annual inundation, ensuring the fertile Kemet for agriculture. The New Kingdom, therefore, represents not just a period of military might and artistic splendor, but also a time of vibrant cultural exchange and a continued deep connection to the enduring cycles of nature and the divine, all sustained by the unwavering presence of the Nile. As we gently conclude our observations of the New Kingdom, we are left with a profound sense of awe at its achievements. It was an era that demonstrated Egypt's remarkable resilience, its capacity for innovation, and its enduring commitment to its unique worldview. The empires rose and fell, but the core beliefs, the reverence for Maat, and the centrality of the Nile remained the steadfast anchors of this magnificent civilization. We have journeyed through periods of unity and disunity, of internal focus and imperial ambition, always finding the underlying threads of continuity that bind these disparate eras into a single, majestic narrative. The sands of time may drift, but the echoes of these powerful pharaohs and their enduring legacy continue to resonate, inviting us to delve deeper into the intricate patterns and subtle wisdom of this ancient land. As the echoes of Ramses the Great's monumental reign gently recede, and the grand vistas of the New Kingdom begin to soften in our mind's eye, we observe a subtle yet profound shift in the enduring narrative of ancient Egypt. The sands of time, ever present, continue their slow, deliberate drift, and with them the currents of power begin to meander into new, less centralized channels. Our journey, a tranquil exploration designed to foster calm contemplation, now invites us to witness the gradual transformation of this magnificent civilization as it navigates periods of fragmentation, foreign influence, and remarkable resilience before ultimately yielding to the tides of a wider world. We have seen Egypt's might soar to unparalleled heights, its pharaohs wielding immense power, its temples reaching for the heavens, and its empire stretching far beyond the life-giving embrace of the Nile. Yet, even the most formidable empires are subject to the inexorable rhythm of change, a gentle reminder of life's cyclical nature, much like the Nile itself, which, though constant, forever reshapes its banks. The latter years of the New Kingdom, particularly after Ramses III, saw the once mighty state grappling with internal strife, economic strain, and external pressures. The vast wealth accumulated through conquest and trade began to dwindle, the royal coffers faced depletion, and the influence of the powerful high priests of Amun in Thebes grew to rival that of the pharaohs themselves. External threats, most notably the enigmatic Sea Peoples, whose incursions were famously repelled by Ramses III, nonetheless left their mark, contributing to a sense of instability and a redirection of resources towards defense. This gradual erosion of central authority ushered in what historians refer to as the Third Intermediate Period, a complex and often fragmented era spanning from approximately 1070 to 664 BCE. As we drift through these centuries, we observe Egypt no longer unified under a single unchallenged pharaoh. Instead, power became decentralized, a mosaic of regional rulers asserting their autonomy. In the north, various dynasties, often of Libyan descent, established their seats of power in the delta, ruling concurrently with the high priests of Amun, who, by now, effectively governed Upper Egypt from their religious stronghold in Thebes. These Libyan pharaohs, like those of the 22nd dynasty, embraced Egyptian titles and traditions, yet their origins marked a subtle shift in the composition of the ruling elite, an early foreshadowing of the diverse influences that would increasingly shape Egypt's destiny. It is during this period of apparent fragmentation that we encounter one of the most remarkable and often overlooked chapters in Egypt's long history, the rise of the Kushite or Nubian 25th dynasty. From the verdant lands to Egypt's south, a powerful kingdom had been steadily developing, profoundly influenced by Egyptian culture for millennia. Now, under formidable rulers like Piye and Taharqa, these black pharaohs reversed the historical flow, conquering Egypt and reunifying the two lands under their rule. Their reign, beginning around 747 BCE, was not one of foreign oppression, but rather a profound cultural revival. The Kushite pharaohs saw themselves as the true guardians of ancient Egyptian traditions, restoring neglected temples, commissioning new monuments in a distinctly Archaic style, reminiscent of the Old Kingdom, and reinvigorating the cult of Amun. They were deeply pious, dedicated to Maat, and their rule, though relatively brief, breathed new life into many aspects of Egyptian civilization, creating a fascinating blend of Nubian and Egyptian artistry and religious fervour, particularly visible in their unique pyramid-building traditions in their homeland. However, the tranquility of this Kushite revival was destined to be disturbed by the escalating geopolitical dynamics of the ancient Near East. To the east, the mighty Assyrian Empire was rapidly expanding its dominion, sweeping across lands with an unprecedented military machine. The Kushite pharaohs, viewing themselves as Egypt's rightful protectors, inevitably clashed with the Assyrians, leading to a series of brutal invasions that ultimately forced the Kushites to retreat back to their southern homeland. This marked the beginning of Egypt's late period, an era characterized by a recurring cycle of foreign domination, brief periods of independence, and desperate attempts to reclaim past glories. The Assyrians, though powerful, did not maintain a firm grip on Egypt for long. Instead, they often relied on local vassals to govern. One such vassal, Psamtik III, a prince from the delta city of Sais, managed to expel the Assyrians and reunify Egypt, initiating the Ptah's 26th dynasty, often referred to as the Sate Renaissance. c. 664-525 BCE. This period represents a conscious and deliberate effort to look back to Egypt's golden ages, particularly the Old and Middle Kingdoms, for inspiration. Art and architecture from this era meticulously emulated the styles of earlier dynasties, reflecting a profound reverence for tradition and a desire to restore a sense of national identity and stability after centuries of division and foreign influence. Trade flourished, and Egypt once again asserted itself as a significant power in the Mediterranean world. Yet this renaissance too was fragile. A new, formidable power was rising in the east, the Achaemenid Persian Empire. In 525 BCE, the Persian king Cambyses II conquered Egypt, establishing the 27th dynasty and incorporating Egypt as a satrapy, province, within his vast empire. For over a century, Egypt was ruled by Persian kings, a period that saw further integration into a broader imperial system. While the Persians largely respected Egyptian religious practices, their rule was distinctly foreign, and periods of revolt often flared, leading to brief reassertions of Egyptian independence and the rise of local dynasties like the 28th, 29th, and 30th dynasties. These fleeting moments of native rule were ultimately crushed, culminating in the I dynasty, which saw the Persians briefly regain control before another, even more transformative force arrived on the horizon. As we gently glide through these centuries of shifting power, we can feel the world around Egypt growing larger, its isolated grandeur giving way to a more interconnected, tumultuous landscape. The final, decisive shift came with the arrival of Alexander the Great in 332 BCE. With astonishing speed, the young Macedonian king swept through the Persian Empire, and Egypt, chafing under Persian rule, largely welcomed him as a liberator. Alexander, ever the astute strategist, paid homage to Egyptian gods, was declared pharaoh, and famously founded the city of Alexandria on the Mediterranean coast, a beacon of Hellenistic culture and learning that would become one of the ancient world's greatest metropolises. His stay was brief, but his legacy profound. Upon Alexander's untimely death, his vast empire was divided among his generals. Egypt fell to Ptolemy, who established the Ptolemaic dynasty, 305-30 BCE. For nearly 3 centuries, Egypt was ruled by a line of Greek pharaohs, who, while maintaining their Hellenistic identity and establishing Alexandria as a vibrant centre of Greek culture, shrewdly adopted many aspects of traditional Egyptian kingship. They were crowned in Memphis according to ancient rites, built and restored temples to Egyptian gods, like the magnificent temples at Edfu and Dendera, and even commissioned texts in hieroglyphs, ensuring a continuity that appeased the native population and legitimized their rule. This era witnessed a fascinating cultural fusion, where Greek and Egyptian traditions intertwined, giving rise to new deities like Serapis and influencing art, architecture, and religious practices. It was during this period that the famous Rosetta Stone was inscribed, a trilingual decree that would, millennia later, unlock the secrets of hieroglyphs. The Ptolemaic era, though marked by periods of internal strife and external pressures, also saw Egypt thrive economically, its fertile lands continuing to serve as the breadbasket of the Mediterranean. However, as the Roman Republic grew into an unstoppable empire, its shadow began to loom large over Egypt. The final act of this long, illustrious drama features one of history's most captivating figures, Cleopatra Seventh. A brilliant, multilingual and politically astute queen, Cleopatra was the last pharaoh of Egypt, fiercely determined to preserve her kingdom's independence. She famously formed alliances with powerful Roman leaders, first Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony, leveraging her charisma and strategic acumen to protect her realm. Her story, a blend of power, romance, and tragedy, culminates in the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, where her forces and those of Mark Antony were decisively defeated by Octavian, later Emperor Augustus. With her death by suicide in 30 BCE, Egypt, after millennia of independent rule, became a province of the Roman Empire. The Roman conquest did not erase the Egyptian identity overnight. Many traditions, religious practices, and artistic styles continued under Roman rule, albeit under the watchful eye of Rome, which valued Egypt primarily for its immense agricultural wealth. The Nile still flowed, the temple still stood, and the ancient gods were still revered by the populace. However, the era of the pharaohs, of divine kings ruling a sovereign land, had definitively ended. As we bring this chapter to a calm close, we reflect upon the enduring spirit of ancient Egypt. From the unification under Menes to the final poignant reign of Cleopatra, we have journeyed through an extraordinary tapestry of power, belief, and human endeavour. Even as external forces reshaped its political landscape, the core essence of Egypt, its profound connection to the Nile, its unwavering faith in the afterlife, its artistic ingenuity, and its deep reverence for cosmic order, continued to resonate. We are left with a sense of the cyclical nature of history, where even decline leads to new forms of adaptation and cultural exchange, ensuring that the legacy of this magnificent civilization would continue to inspire and intrigue for all time. Our next contemplation will invite us to delve into the daily lives, the intricate beliefs, and the societal structures that underpinned this enduring civilization, moving beyond the grand narratives of pharaohs and empires to discover the quiet rhythms of everyday existence in the land of the Nile. As the sands of time gently settled upon the fate of Cleopatra VII, and the Roman eagle cast its vast shadow over the ancient land, the era of pharaonic rule, in its independent form, quietly receded into the annals of history. Yet, we observe, this was not an end, but rather a profound metamorphosis, a transition where the vibrant spirit of ancient Egypt, like the enduring current of the Nile itself, found new pathways to flow and shape the world. Though no longer governed by its own kings and queens, the land of the pharaohs continued to exert an undeniable, almost mystical influence, its wisdom and beauty echoing across the Mediterranean and beyond. We invite you now to drift with us in calm contemplation as we explore the enduring legacy of this magnificent civilization long after its political independence had ceased. The Roman conquest, far from extinguishing the light of Egypt, instead cast its glow upon a wider stage. For centuries, Egypt became the granary of Rome, its fertile fields, still kissed by the Nile's life-giving embrace, feeding the sprawling empire. But more than mere sustenance, Egypt offered Rome a profound wellspring of culture, religion, and artistry. Roman emperors, recognizing the potent symbolism of the ancient pharaohs, adopted many of their iconographies. Obelisks, those towering needles of stone, were transported from the banks of the Nile to adorn the piazzas of Rome, silent testaments to a conquered yet revered past. Egyptian motifs, from the serene lotus to the vigilant Sphinx, found their way into Roman villas, frescoes, and mosaics, blending with the classical aesthetic to create a unique synthesis of styles. This enduring artistic influence speaks volumes of the awe and fascination Egypt inspired, even in its conquerors. Perhaps even more significant was the spread of Egyptian religious beliefs. The cults of Isis and Osiris, with their compelling narratives of death, resurrection, and eternal life, captivated the Roman populace. Isis, the divine mother and sorceress, became one of the most widely revered deities throughout the Roman Empire, her temples stretching from the Nile to the Thames. Her gentle embrace offered solace and hope, echoing the ancient Egyptian belief in a meticulously prepared and ultimately triumphant journey through the afterlife. This widespread adoption of Egyptian deities demonstrates the profound spiritual resonance of a civilization that had always placed the sacred at the very heart of its existence. The enduring power of these myths, initially woven along the Nile, transcended cultural boundaries, offering a universal message of renewal and divine love. However, as centuries turned into millennia, a veil of mystery began to descend upon the most intimate expressions of ancient Egyptian wisdom, its writing. The beautiful, intricate hieroglyphs, once the sacred script of kings and priests, gradually fell out of use. With the rise of Coptic, a descendant of ancient Egyptian written with the Greek alphabet, and later Arabic, the knowledge of how to read the ancient pictograms faded. The monumental inscriptions, the vibrant tomb paintings, and the countless papyri became silent, their profound messages locked away, their subtle wisdom inaccessible. Egypt's history, once so meticulously recorded, became a subject of speculation and wonder, its monuments gazing enigmatically across the desert, their stories untold. The land, once teeming with scribes and scholars, now held its secrets close, waiting for a future moment of rediscovery. This period of quiet waiting lasted for well over 1,000 years, until the late 18th century, when the world's gaze once again turned to the sands of Egypt with renewed intensity. The catalyst was Napoleon Bonaparte's expedition to Egypt in 1798. While a military campaign, it brought with it an army of scholars, artists, and scientists, the savants, who meticulously documented everything they encountered, from flora and fauna to the colossal ruins of ancient temples and tombs. This monumental undertaking, culminating in the multi-volume Description de l'Égypte, ignited a fervent European fascination with ancient Egypt, birthing the field of Egyptology and forever changing our understanding of this ancient land. It was a moment of profound awakening, where the echoes of the pharaohs began to stir once more. Amidst the whirlwind of discovery, a singular artifact emerged that would prove to be the most crucial key to unlocking Egypt's silent past: the Rosetta Stone. Discovered in 1799 by French soldiers near the town of Rosetta, modern-day Rashid, this granite stele bore the same decree inscribed in 3 scripts: hieroglyphic, demotic, a later cursive form of ancient Egyptian, and ancient Greek. For decades, scholars grappled with the inscrutable hieroglyphs, until a brilliant young Frenchman named Jean-François Champollion, through tireless dedication and an intuitive grasp of the linguistic puzzle, finally deciphered them in 1822. This monumental achievement was akin to finding a lost language, a Rosetta Stone for the soul of an entire civilization. Suddenly, the voices of the pharaohs, the prayers of the priests, the boasts of the generals, and the intimate details of daily life could be heard again, bridging the chasm of millennia and allowing the gentle current of knowledge to flow freely once more. With the decipherment of hieroglyphs, the floodgates of understanding opened. The 19th and 20th centuries witnessed an explosion of archaeological exploration, moving from treasure hunting to systematic scientific inquiry. Legendary figures like Howard Carter, who unveiled the untouched tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, captured the world's imagination, revealing the breathtaking artistry and profound spiritual convictions of the New Kingdom. Each discovery, from the grandeur of Karnak to the humble tools of a craftsman, contributed to a richer, more nuanced understanding of this complex society. Today, the work of Egyptology continues with unwavering dedication. Modern archaeologists employ sophisticated technologies, from satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar to DNA analysis and digital reconstruction, allowing us to uncover and preserve sites with unprecedented precision. The sands of Egypt continue to yield their secrets, revealing new tombs, lost cities, and countless artifacts that deepen our appreciation for the ingenuity, resilience, and spiritual depth of this ancient civilization. We are constantly reminded that the story of ancient Egypt is not a closed book, but an ongoing narrative, a continuous dialogue between the past and the present. As we gently bring this exploration of ancient Egypt's long journey to a close, we are left with a profound sense of wonder and calm contemplation. The enduring presence of the Nile, the majestic pyramids that defy time, the intricate patterns of belief that shaped a society for thousands of years, all these elements speak to a civilization deeply connected to its environment, its gods, and its own vision of eternity. The principles of Ma'at, the cosmic balance and order, continue to resonate, offering a timeless wisdom that transcends specific cultural contexts. The human quest for meaning, for immortality, and for harmony with the divine, so vividly expressed by the Egyptians, remains a universal aspiration. We invite you to carry these images and insights within you, allowing them to foster a sense of peace and curiosity. The enigmatic gaze of the Sphinx, the subtle wisdom embedded in every hieroglyph, and the profound beauty of a civilization that sought to build for eternity, continue to inspire awe. Though the pharaohs have long departed, their legacy endures, an eternal whisper across the desert winds, a gentle reminder of humanity's remarkable capacity for creation, belief, and enduring spirit. Let the sands of time drift away, and allow the timeless essence of ancient Egypt to linger, a source of quiet inspiration and endless fascination. As the intricate puzzle of hieroglyphs began to yield its secrets, unlocked by the patient brilliance of Jean-François Champollion, a new chapter in our understanding of ancient Egypt unfurled. The Rosetta Stone, once a silent testament to a forgotten tongue, became a vibrant key, opening not just texts, but entire worlds. With this linguistic barrier breached, the study of ancient Egypt transformed from speculative wonder into the rigorous discipline we now know as Egyptology. We invite you to drift with us once more along the gentle current of this newfound knowledge, observing how the sands of time, having obscured so much, now began to reveal their enduring treasures with unprecedented clarity. The initial wave of decipherment sparked an unparalleled fervour, a surge of intellectual curiosity that propelled explorers, scholars, and even adventurers into the sun-drenched landscapes of Egypt. The whispers of the past, once muted, now began to resonate with increasing volume, beckoning us closer to their profound narratives. Early explorers, armed with Champollion's linguistic breakthroughs, embarked upon the Nile, their efforts a blend of enthusiastic discovery and at times less scientific zeal. The mid-19th century saw figures like Auguste Mariette, a French Egyptologist, establish the Egyptian Antiquities Service and the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, striving to protect the country's heritage from rampant looting and haphazard excavation. Mariette's work at Saqqara, particularly the Serapeum, the burial place of the sacred Apis bulls, offered tantalizing glimpses into the rich funerary traditions of the Old Kingdom. His methodical, though still nascent approach laid foundational stones for future, more sophisticated archaeological practices. We observe how the very act of discovery became a journey of refinement, moving from mere treasure hunting to a more structured, respectful engagement with the past. The Valley of the Kings, a secluded necropolis on the west bank of the Nile near Thebes, became a focal point of this burgeoning science. For centuries, its desolate wadis had guarded the elaborate rock-cut tombs of New Kingdom pharaohs and powerful nobles, designed to protect their earthly remains and their precious funerary goods for eternity. Yet time and tomb robbers had proven formidable adversaries, leaving most of these royal resting places disturbed, their treasures scattered, their stories fragmented. We recognize the profound silence of these valleys, a silence that once spoke of finality, but which now, through the diligent work of Egyptologists, began to echo with the lives of those long departed. It was into this landscape of both immense loss and enduring hope that the British archaeologist Howard Carter arrived, dedicating years of his life to a systematic, painstaking search. His patron, Lord Carnarvon, provided the financial backing, but it was Carter's unwavering persistence and keen eye that would ultimately lead to one of the most astonishing archaeological finds in history. For years, the Valley of the Kings had been considered largely exhausted, its secrets believed to have been fully plundered. Yet Carter held a quiet conviction that one tomb, that of a relatively obscure boy king Tutankhamun, remained undiscovered. We sense the enduring spirit of inquiry, a refusal to be deterred by the apparent absence of revelation, a deep belief that the past still held untold narratives. Then, on November 4th, 1922, beneath the remains of ancient workmen's huts, a step was uncovered, leading downwards into the bedrock. This was the first hint of what would become the most intact royal tomb ever found in the Valley of the Kings. We invite you to pause, to breathe in that moment of anticipation, the quiet hum of discovery about to unfold. The excavation proceeded with an almost reverent care. Each layer of debris, each sealed doorway, a new veil lifted from the face of antiquity. On November 26, 1922, Carter, with Carnarvon by his side, made a small breach in the final sealed doorway, peering into the darkness within. When asked by Carnarvon if he could see anything, Carter famously replied, "Yes, wonderful things." This moment, etched into the annals of history, marked the unveiling of Tutankhamun's tomb, KV62. It was a discovery that transcended archaeology, captivating the entire world and igniting a global fascination with ancient Egypt that endures to this day. We observe how a single discovery can bridge millennia, connecting the human heart of the present to the profound artistry and beliefs of the past. The tomb itself was a breathtaking time capsule, an unparalleled glimpse into the splendor and spiritual convictions of the New Kingdom. Unlike most other royal tombs, it had largely escaped the depredations of ancient robbers, preserving an astounding collection of over 5,000 artifacts. Golden shrines, gilded statues, intricate furniture, chariots, weapons, clothing, and most famously, the magnificent solid gold burial mask of Tutankhamun, all lay within, testament to the wealth and craftsmanship of his era. Each object, meticulously crafted and carefully placed, spoke volumes about the ancient Egyptian belief in the afterlife, designed to accompany the deceased pharaoh on his journey through the Duat to the Field of Reeds. We recognize the profound purpose behind every item, not mere decoration, but vital provisions for an eternal existence. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb revolutionized Egyptology in several ways. It demonstrated the importance of meticulous, systematic excavation, documenting every find in its precise context. Carter's team spent a decade carefully cataloguing, conserving, and removing the artifacts, setting new standards for archaeological practice. it also brought ancient Egypt into the public consciousness like never before, inspiring countless books, films, and exhibitions. The Curse of the Pharaohs, a sensationalized narrative that emerged after some associated with the excavation died in subsequent years, only added to the mystique, albeit inaccurately. We acknowledge the human tendency to weave narratives, even mythical ones, around the profound and the mysterious. Beyond the grandeur of royal burials, Egyptology continued to expand its scope, delving into the daily lives of common people, the organization of ancient cities, and the vast network of trade and diplomacy that characterized Egypt's interactions with its neighbors. Sites like Amarna, the short-lived capital of Akhenaten, offered unique insights into urban planning and domestic life during the Amarna period. Deir el-Medina, the village of the workmen who built the royal tombs, provided an extraordinary archive of ostraca and papyri detailing their daily routines, legal disputes, hopes, and fears, offering a remarkably human perspective on an otherwise often impersonal ancient society. We are gently reminded that beneath the monumental structures and divine kings lay a populace whose lives, though different, resonated with universal human experiences. As the 20th century progressed, the methods of Egyptology became increasingly sophisticated. The shift from mere artifact recovery to a focus on context, stratigraphy, and environmental archaeology allowed scholars to reconstruct not just what was found, but how and why it was there, and what it meant within its broader cultural landscape. Interdisciplinary approaches integrating geology, anthropology, botany, zoology, and chemistry began to paint a far richer and more nuanced picture of ancient Egyptian civilization. We observe the quiet evolution of a discipline, growing in its capacity to listen to the silent testimonies of the past. Today, Egyptology stands at the forefront of archaeological innovation. Remote sensing technologies, such as ground-penetrating radar and satellite imagery, allow researchers to identify potential sites and buried structures without disturbing the ground. DNA analysis of mummified remains offers unprecedented insights into ancient diseases, familial relationships, and population movements. Digital reconstruction and 3D modeling bring ancient temples and tombs back to life, allowing virtual exploration and preservation for future generations. The Nile, in its enduring embrace, continues to yield secrets, but now with the aid of tools that would have seemed miraculous to the earliest excavators. Despite centuries of exploration and decipherment, ancient Egypt continues to hold many mysteries. New tombs are still being discovered, papyri are constantly being translated, and existing sites continue to reveal layers of previously unnoticed detail. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, continues to be subjected to non-invasive scans, revealing potential hidden chambers and corridors, reminding us that even the most studied monuments may yet harbour untold stories. We are invited to ponder the vastness of what remains unknown, a testament to the enduring complexity and depth of this ancient civilization. The enduring fascination with ancient Egypt is not merely about the allure of gold or the grandeur of pharaohs. It is a deeper connection to a civilization that grappled with universal questions of life, death, and eternity with unparalleled devotion. Their art, their architecture, their religious beliefs, and their very way of life speak to a profound human desire for order, meaning, and continuity. Through the patient work of Egyptologists, the calm contemplation of their enduring legacy, we continue to learn not just about a distant past, but about the timeless aspirations of the human spirit. The gentle current of knowledge flows onward, ever deepening our appreciation for the wisdom and wonder of the land of the Nile. As the sands of time drift away, revealing ever more intricate patterns beneath the surface, our exploration of ancient Egypt deepens, moving beyond the grand narratives of empires and pharaohs to embrace the very essence of daily existence. We invite you once more to settle into this space of calm contemplation, allowing the gentle current of knowledge to carry you further along the timeless Nile. Each discovery, each unearthed artifact, each deciphered inscription serves not merely as a historical detail, but as a small window into the vast and interconnected tapestry of a civilization that sought meaning and eternity in every aspect of its being. Modern Egyptology, with its ceaseless quest, continues to illuminate not just what they built, but how they lived, what they believed, and why their legacy endures. We have observed how the majestic Nile shaped the very landscape and destiny of ancient Egypt, acting as its lifeblood, its primary artery. But let us now delve more intimately into how this benevolent river dictated the rhythms of everyday life for countless generations, far removed from the royal courts and monumental construction sites. The annual inundation, a divine gift personified by the god Hapi, was not merely an agricultural event, it was the very pulse of their world, a cycle of renewal that imbued their understanding of life, death, and rebirth with profound significance. When the waters gently receded, depositing their rich, fertile black silt, Kemet, upon the land, it was a signal for the laborious yet hopeful cycle of cultivation to begin anew. We observe that the diligent hands of the farmers, the backbone of Egyptian society, would then prepare the softened earth, planting the vital grains of barley and wheat. These were not simply crops, they were the very sustenance that fueled an entire civilization, ground into flour for the daily bread that was a staple of every meal, and fermented into the nourishing beer that quenched thirst and provided essential calories. Beyond these staples, the Egyptians cultivated a diverse array of vegetables, including onions, garlic, leeks, lettuce, and cucumbers, alongside fruits such as dates, figs, and grapes, which flourished in the sun-drenched orchards along the riverbanks. The Nile's bounty extended far beyond the fields. Its waters teemed with fish, a crucial source of protein for commoners, caught with nets and harpoons. The papyrus reeds that grew abundantly along its banks were transformed into an astonishing array of essential items, not only the sheets for writing that preserved their wisdom, but also boats, mats, baskets, sandals, and even ropes. This versatile plant truly underscores the ingenuity and resourcefulness of a people living in harmony with their natural environment. We see how the river itself served as the primary highway for transportation and trade, a gentle, enduring conduit connecting Upper and Lower Egypt. Boats, from simple skiffs to grand barges laden with stone for temples or grain for the granaries, navigated its waters, propelled by sails catching the prevailing northerly winds when travelling south, or by oars and the river's current when journeying north. This constant movement fostered a sense of unity and facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and even artistic styles across the vast kingdom. Life for the vast majority of Egyptians, the farmers and labourers, revolved around the agricultural calendar and the daily necessities. Their homes, typically constructed from sun-dried mud brick, were simple yet functional, designed to offer respite from the desert heat. These modest dwellings, often whitewashed to reflect the sun's rays, would house families, sometimes in close proximity to their livestock. Furniture was sparse, usually consisting of low stools, mats woven from reeds, and perhaps a wooden chest for storage. Despite the simplicity, a sense of community and familial warmth permeated these homes. We observe that the concept of family was paramount, with children cherished and the elderly respected. Women, while primarily responsible for household duties and raising children, also held a unique status in ancient society, possessing rights to own property, conduct business, and initiate divorce, a progressive stance compared to many contemporary civilizations. Clothing was practical and suited to the warm climate, predominantly made from linen woven from flax. Men typically wore kilts or skirts, while women donned simple sheath-like dresses that reached the ankles, often with broad shoulder straps. Children frequently went unclothed, especially in warmer months. Adornment, even for commoners, included simple jewellery, a testament to their appreciation for beauty and personal expression. Craftsmen, a revered class, produced an astonishing variety of goods, from intricate pottery and finely woven textiles to expertly carved wooden furniture and elegant metalwork. Their skills were passed down through generations, contributing to the enduring quality and aesthetic appeal of Egyptian artifacts we marvel at today. Even after a day of labour, there was time for leisure. Board games such as Senet were popular, offering a chance for strategic thinking and social interaction. Music, dance, and storytelling were integral to festivals and gatherings, weaving a vibrant cultural fabric into the daily routines. Beyond the practicalities of daily life, the spiritual dimension was inextricably woven into every thread of Egyptian existence. We have previously touched upon Ma'at, the principle of cosmic order, truth, and justice, but it is crucial to understand that Ma'at was not an abstract concept. It was a living guide for ethical behaviour, influencing personal conduct, social interactions, and even the governance of the state. Every individual was expected to live in accordance with Ma'at, ensuring harmony in both the human and divine realms. The vast pantheon of gods and goddesses, far from being distant deities, were intimately connected to the natural world and the daily experiences of the Egyptians. Ra, the sun god, made his daily journey across the sky, bringing light and warmth. Isis, the divine mother, offered protection and healing. Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, inspired scribes and scholars. These deities were honoured in temples, yes, but also invoked in personal prayers, offerings and amulets worn for protection and good fortune. The enduring fascination with the afterlife, for which ancient Egypt is perhaps most renowned, stemmed from a profound belief in the cyclical nature of existence, mirrored in the annual flooding of the Nile and the daily rebirth of the sun. Death was not an end, but a transition, a journey to the field of reeds, a paradise where life would continue in an idealized form. The elaborate funerary practices, including mummification, were meticulously designed to preserve the body, which was believed to be essential for the survival of the Ka, life force, and Ba, personality soul, in the afterlife. we observe that while the grandest tombs and most intricate mummification rituals were reserved for pharaohs and the elite, even commoners made efforts to secure a proper burial, reflecting a universal desire for eternal continuity. Their tombs, whether grand or humble, were seen as eternal homes, provisioned with grave goods, from simple pottery to exquisite jewellery, intended to sustain the deceased in the journey beyond. The walls of these tombs, adorned with vibrant scenes of daily life, agricultural abundance, and religious texts, were not merely decorative. They were spells and prayers, ensuring the magical recreation of these provisions and experiences in the eternal realm. This deep reverence for life and its continuation shaped their artistic expressions, their architectural endeavours, and their very philosophy. Every pyramid, every temple, every written word, every crafted object, whispers of a people deeply connected to their land, their gods, and their profound belief in eternity. As we gently drift further along this calm current of knowledge, we begin to perceive the intricate dance between the earthly and the divine, the ephemeral and the eternal that defined ancient Egypt. The facts we uncover are not isolated pieces of information but threads in a magnificent tapestry, each one illuminating the genius and the enduring spirit of a civilization that, even in its quietest moments of daily life, sought to embrace the cosmic order and secure its place within the vastness of time. We will continue to explore these intricate patterns, allowing the subtle wisdom of the past to unfold before us, inspiring a serene appreciation for the enduring human quest for meaning.